It's that age-old argument, isn't it? Especially at West Ham, well, certainly in recent seasons anyway, of performances versus results. And this is certainly, I think at this stage of a season, right, when you get to that business end, it doesn't matter what you're competing for. Or, of course, you have to be competing for something, whether it be you're trying to remain in the Premier League, whether it be that you're trying to fight for a title, or like West Ham, you're trying to get enough points to get yourself in European football for next season. You kind of then had to weigh up that performance over result. I think at this stage now, it's more about the results. You just want to get the points needed by any means, however you do it. You know, you want to obviously see your team play really well for a full 90 minutes and dominate, etc., etc. But let's be honest, if you need the 3 points, would you take playing badly for 89 minutes and nicking it for one? I think you would actually at this stage now. We just need to get the results. And I'm not saying that was the case against Wolves. I don't think we were bad for 89 minutes at all, but it was certainly a game of two halves. It certainly wasn't the complete performance, but it was a good response in the second half from West Ham. But let's just talk about the game quickly. The first half, I've got to be honest, I thought it was really bad. It was one of our worst performances of the season, I think, for West Ham in that first half. We were just not at it at all. We were second best all over the pitch. We looked lethargic. The players didn't look up for it at all. Mikel Antonio was on the bench. Totally understand why as well with the games we've got coming up. Wanted to rest him. So I did understand the decision. But you could see how important now Antonio's become for this team again. Now he's back from injury, because we just looked like a shadow of the side that played against Tottenham. We were just really struggling to get going, and Wolves completely dominated and were deserving of their lead. I don't have really too much to say about the first half in terms of West Ham side of things. So we didn't really have any chances apart from Thomas Souček. There was a brilliant piece of play by Jared Bowen, where he worked hard to win the ball back in the box, cut it back to Souček, but he just wasn't ready for it. He couldn't get his feet sorted out, and it just basically, it went behind him. And that was our best chance. Aside from that, it was all Wolves. They were dominating that first half. And they got their goal. It was courtesy of a penalty. I've got to be honest. It's one of those. I don't know whether it's because I'm West Ham and I'm maybe being a bit biased. I don't know. But when I first see it, and I've seen it back, it didn't really look a Stonewall penalty to me. I thought he was a little bit unlucky, Emerson. He's got him to make the challenge. It was clear he was trying to get the ball. I thought he actually got a bit of the ball, to be honest with you, but it seemed to be from the sort of media side of things that it was pretty much a clear penalty to Wolves. And look, one of those things, you take it. And as I say, it wasn't as if you felt hard done by. Wolves fully deserved their lead, and West Ham didn't. We deserved to be going in behind at the break, and we were. So it was 1-0 at half time. I think we're a bit fortunate it was only 1-0, because it was that one-sided. It was looking really bad. And that sort of moment where you feel like in such a big game, because I feel like, and I will stand by what I said before the game in my preview, was that I felt this is a must-win game for West Ham. If we'd have lost to Wolves yesterday, I felt that would have been our European hunt pretty much over. I think we'd have really struggled then to get the points that we needed. So it was a vital game. So as you can imagine, and I'm sure you felt the same, you get to half time, you just feel so deflated. You're thinking, what is this performance about? When we don't look up for it and we're losing, and I couldn't see any way around it. And we knew we needed a response, and we did. I will say, I think West Ham responded really well. The introduction of Mikel Antonio made such a big difference to us. And also, we put in Ben Johnson as well. He came on and he was excellent. It just changed the game. It really did. It shifted things, and West Ham starting to look far more confident. We looked like we had a bit of an outlet now. Now we had Antonio who could hold the ball up. It just made a big shift in the proceedings, and Wolves actually struggled to deal with it. But then there was a bit of a bad moment in the game in the second half, which was when Jared Bowen went off injured. He took like a knee to his hip. He'd taken a bit of a whack. Now, just really hoping it's nothing too serious. It's kind of the mixed messages at the moment, what we're hearing from David Moyes, etc., and from inside the club. It's like, it doesn't look great, but it's also because it's an impact injury, it might not be too serious. So it's like it's more to do with the pain side of it rather than it being a ligament or anything like that, a damage where you think it's going to be quite long term. It sounds like it's like an impact injury. So fingers crossed it's not going to be too bad. But the worry I have with it is because it's Jared Bowen. If Bowen goes down injured and has to leave the pitch, that's not a good sign, because he's a tough bloke. He does seem to run off all knocks, etc., during games. So for him to have to leave the field of play was quite a sad sight, actually, and a worrying one, because this is not at the time of the season. I've said that we're at this business end. We don't want to be losing our best players, and Jared Bowen's certainly one of those. But we played well, and we responded well to the Bowen going off, though. And I'll tell you what, it was one of those substitutions from Moyes. When Bowen came off, he put on Aaron Creswell. And I think actually it was the right decision. At the time, it was hard to see whether that would be the correct way to go about things, but basically shifted Emerson further up the pitch, putting Creswell back at left back. And it actually worked really well. Emerson was having more of an impact on the game, and we looked dangerous. We really did, and we were pushing to try and get ourselves back in the game. And we did, and we got a penalty in the 70th minute. Handball from Max Kilman. Great play from Emerson. He nipped in. Considering the fact he'd given away the penalty, he did well to win this one back, because he worked hard to win the ball back. He tried to cross it back into the box. And Kilman... I don't like these sort of penalties being given, really. I mean, obviously, when it goes West Ham's favour, of course you do. But you look at it and feel like, well, there's not much he could have really done. He was quite close to the player, but his arm was up. It's considered, isn't it, unnatural and all that kind of stuff. It's given as a penalty. Look, we do not get VAR decisions at West Ham. We really don't. And I know people are going to say, well, yeah, you're going to the poor me routine, but it does feel like that, doesn't it? The last few weeks, it's every week we get a bad decision, and it's like very critical on our results. So it was nice to actually see it go in our favour. We get given the penalty. Lucas Paqueta steps up. He does this sort of like stuttering run, which I hate. I hate when he does it, because it really just makes me feel anxious when he sort of stops. You're like, oh my God, what's he going to do? But he tucked it away beautifully. He sort of cut it into the bottom corner. It was lovely, into the side netting as well. It was really, really good penalty from Paqueta. Gets us back in it. I've got to be honest, I felt at that point there was only going to be one winner. I think West Ham were firmly on top. Wolves were holding on, and West Ham were going for it. We had a few chances, and we were probing. We looked pretty good, and I think Wolves were looking... It's almost like literally was a game of two halves. It was quite the opposite of what it was the first, where Wolves dominated. The second half was pretty much West Ham dominating the game. And then we get a winner. I mean, unbelievable circumstances as well. We get a corner. James Ward-Prowse steps up, and he whips in this corner like he likes to. Very, very close, very much in the 6-yard box, trying to look for that sort of knock-on header, I think. But bearing in mind the wins we had yesterday, it was really, really ferocious across the country. And it was certainly the case in the Midlands. And I think that really aided that, and sort of picked the ball up. It just carried it. It just never seemed to be coming down. It went up and up and up. It just kept going and going and going. And the keeper just couldn't read it. And no one else could really. It just went beyond everyone into the far corner. Unbelievable. I haven't actually seen James Ward-Prowse's reaction yet to it. So it'd be nice to know actually what his take on it. I'm guessing he's going to kind of indicate that's what he was trying to do. I've got my suspicions that he probably wasn't. No, I don't think he was. I imagine he was just trying to put it into that area, hoping someone could get a flick onto it or head it in, so whatever. So, look, who cares? It went in, and I actually think we deserved it. At that point, I thought, you know what, we've worked really hard. And the reason I say we deserved it as well was because I felt at that point we were the only team looking like we were going to go for the winner. I thought Wolves were backs to the wall thinking, right, we're in trouble here, we're going to try and hold on. Whereas I think West Ham looked far more aggressive at that point. And as I said, this was a must-win game. I think it's very clear. People would sort of criticise me for that, actually saying, well, you keep saying must-win. How is it a must-win? I firmly believe it is. And I firmly believe our next two games are must-win games. And the league, I mean, obviously Europa is in its own right because it's a knockout. But the next two league games, which are Fulham and Palace, for me are must-win games. And Wolves was. If we want to get to the points that we need to get European football, we've got to win these games. So, and I sort of felt that from West Ham. I felt that from the club yesterday. It felt like the side knew we had to get that winner. We had to somehow get the points. And look, we went and got it. We got the winner. But there was controversy. It didn't end there. You know, it went in, and it was one of them parts of the game for West Ham. I just wish we would learn to see games out properly. Now, I think it was 9, maybe 10 minutes we added on to the end. I'm getting really bored of these ridiculous add-on minutes. I know they're supposed to be deemed fair, but it's so frustrating, isn't it? When you're clinging on and you got one goal, you're ahead, and then they put up a board that says 10 minutes on it. You're like, for God's sake, like 10 minutes. Because we're not great at seeing games out. We don't. Do you know what West Ham is? We can't keep the ball. we seem incapable of just keeping possession and just playing a simple game. We always seem to be either desperate to go and get a goal, or defend, or we'd rather them have the ball and we defend, or if we get the ball, we're so desperate to get on the pitch and play. We can never just seem to just go, right, I'll tell you what, play it back to Fabianski, play it back to, into Zuma, play it back to the keeper, just keep the ball, just pass the ball around. We're no big danger. Just try and hold possession and see the game out. But we're not very good at it. And it came to fruition again against Wolves. We've got 10 minutes to see it out. We end up giving the ball away really badly from a free kick. They go up the other end, they get a corner, in 99th minute, you've got a minute to go. You're thinking, just hang on, West Ham, hang on. And no, we don't. Ball comes flying from a corner, free header from Max Kilman. Again, questions have to be asked about that. Why are we struggling to defend a corner in the 99th minute of a game when we're one goal ahead in a vital match, must win? And yet a player like Kilman can just come in and head it into a sort of an empty net, really, because at the point where Fabianski was standing, it was never going to get to the ball. As you were, right? I'm certain of this. I was absolutely furious, couldn't believe it, thinking we've thrown away points again, like we did against Newcastle. We threw away 3 points. We've now thrown away 2 points. I was absolutely fuming, thinking, and to be honest with you, for me, it was done. The European venture, I thought, that's it. We are not going to be able to get European football next season. I know it sounds a bit dramatic, but that's genuinely how I feel. I think about these games are so important. I was, absolutely fuming. And then all of a sudden, VAR pops up. We're checking for a possible offside. Because when it said, the VAR are checking, when you look back at it, I'm just scouring around looking, oh my God, is there a handball? Is it, what's happened? And I just cannot see anything. I cannot see anything wrong with it. And then they were saying, well, it's because of interfering with play and Fabianski being obstructed with a Wolves player's offside. I didn't think they'd give it. I'll be honest. I didn't think they'd give it. I looked at it and went, that's not offside. I don't think he's interfering with play too much. Okay, he's sort of standing near Fabianski, but it's not as if he stood in his way and Fabianski's going to try and make the save. I think if that had been the case, I think you'd have a really valid point. He ain't getting anywhere near that ball. He's not going to get it. So I was absolutely fuming. I thought that's it. That's going to be it. Warded a goal. I was resigned to it. And then you get the old famous, and I don't get me wrong, I really don't want to say like I'm pleased with VAR. I hate it. I really hate this stupid new system where they send the referee over to the monitor because you just know what he's going to do. Don't get me wrong, at that point, I'm delighted to see it because I think I know what's coming now. But it's like a pantomime almost, VAR now, and all of a sudden, that's what we get. The referee's then instructed, go and look at the monitor, you make the decision. It's really weird. I don't get this VAR. I don't get it. I think it's absolute crap. And I really feel for Wolves fans because I would have been absolutely, wearing an orange shirt this day, I'd have been absolutely fuming as well. At this point, I'm feeling quite jubilant. I'm quite confident now the referee's going to turn it over because they always do. So he goes and looks at his monitor, boom, puts down that offside. I was thrilled. I couldn't believe we actually got a VAR decision go our way. It wasn't like thrilled, like, oh, well done, West Ham. We fully deserved that in a way. I was actually still quite angry at West Ham. We allowed that to happen. We gave away the ball really cheaply. We gave away the corner. Max Kilman comes in with a free header. These things are nothing to do with VAR. Do you know what I mean? You can't then go, oh, that was a problem because, of course, by the game, not by West Ham. These are all, for me, self-inflicted by West Ham. We didn't defend well. And as far as I'm concerned, as I said, I didn't really see much wrong with it. I thought Wolves it was hard done by. But having said that, it's bloody swings and roundabouts because we had some bad decisions in that game too, courtesy of VAR. So, yeah, look, it wasn't given for Wolves. We get away with it effectively. David Moyes gets away with it. We all do. And we walk away from Molineux with 3 points. Gary O'Neill absolutely fuming at the end of the game. I get it. Like if I was Gary O'Neill, if I was Wolves, I'd have been like, that was a really bad decision. And I do understand it, but as I say, look, we have been on the receiving end of some really, really bad VAR decisions this season, recently as well, and even in that game. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, God, we get away with it. We're so lucky. We're not lucky, and we did get away with that a little bit, but about bloody time because it feels like it's always the other way around for us. And And we got the win, got the 3 points. And as I say at the start of this video, performance over results now. Like, I think it's the other way around. It's results over performances. I didn't really care at the end of it. I just saw those 3 points and thought, thank God, we've now got 3 more games to go, i.e. in terms of in the league, we need to get 3 more wins. I think we need to beat Fulham, beat Palace and beat Luton. If we can win those 3 games and then arguably go and get, say, a point at Chelsea, I think European football guaranteed for West Ham next season. So it's a vital win, and I am absolutely buzzing about it. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't a perfect performance, but I want to say a couple of things. I thought Mikel Antonio was outstanding again. He has become such a vital player for us. Every time you think Antonio's time at West Ham is done, when you think it's all over for him, he's not going to be able to get back amongst it and be one of our most vital players. He gets himself back into it, and I'm so pleased to see it. And I'm going to say it again about Ben Johnson. West Ham have just cannot let that guy go. It's so infuriating that we are allowing this to happen, that he's going to be going to Crystal Palace most likely in the summer for free. I mean, he was excellent. He's been excellent this season. He's been called upon. I don't care what anyone says. I know I'm going to get criticism in this video for saying it. Some people really don't seem to like Johnson for whatever reason. Look, everyone's entitled to their opinion. This is mine, right? Ben Johnson's a great player and he's so versatile, and he's a young lad. We're not young, but he's a West Ham lad, and we shouldn't be letting him go. We should not be letting him go at all. He's a wonderful addition to our squad, and I really, really hope we can get something sorted, because the idea of him leaving is so frustrating. It really is. Look, it's a win. I'm not going to be downbeat today. I'm in a really good mood. We've got some big games coming up. We've obviously got Leverkusen next in the Europa League, which is, I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than that. It's huge for West Ham. If we can go there and get something out of that, go and get a draw and bring it back to our place, then it's all to play for. It's a big game. But Premier League-wise, it's a big, big win. And it's another step closer to European football next season. Come on, you Irons.